Right now, we're still here focusing with a little plant that we have. That plant's been here for now probably 2 or 3, maybe 4 weeks. And not a plant, it's just a piece of a plant, but it's connected to this water. It's in this water so that it can continue to have its own roots. Tonight, we want to talk about the different kinds of dependence again. Total dependence. This plant, this piece of plant is totally dependent on this water. So we understood a few weeks ago that this was connected to a big bush, and we just took a piece off and stuck it in a jar, put some water in it to see if it could survive in the water. And that's the way it's surviving in the water. Satan wants to make sure that he gets you out of the water. So we started with the different kinds of dependence. We talked about the 4 kinds of dependence. Now we're going to move forward real fast on these, but if you remember last Monday, we talked about, first of all, we all start out with total independence. There was a time when we started out and we know you were an unbeliever and you didn't believe God and you didn't trust God and you didn't know God and all that other stuff that was going on. And people outside of Christ, they have what we call total independence, not really depending on God at all. Then you come around and you probably you gave your life to Christ. And then we got into that thing called claimed dependence. Claimed dependence is when we say, Lord, I really depend on you. Lord, I love you. But you still know in reality, you got you something else over on the side just in case God doesn't come through. That's a claim dependence. Then we go through life and we come through what we call realized dependence. See, we got total dependence, you got claim dependence, then you have realized dependence. And that's when we come to God and we really cry out to God for help in every area of our life, because you really realize, God, I really depend on you. I really don't know how I'm going to make it through this or that, and I really don't understand where things are going, and I really don't know how things got here. And that's when you get into a realized dependence, and that's when God says, okay, I'm listening to you. You realize I have you. You realize you can talk to me. Then we come to that 4th one, and that's when we call that desperate dependence. Okay? And desperate dependence, man, that's when you realize, Lord, I'm out here in the wilderness, and I know that I can pray and I can talk to you, but God, I'm so desperate. I just don't know what to do except listen to you. I don't know what to do except what you tell me to do. And sometimes God will say, move right now. Sometimes God will say, hold on, be still. Don't make a move at all. Sometimes God will say, I want you to say this, and God says, I want you to contact that. And sometimes God will say, I just want you to be still and know that I'm God. And you could say, God, being still makes me look bad. It makes me look guilty. It makes me look horrible. Being still makes me look like like I'm out of control. Being still makes me not look. God said, just be still and know. Now that's when you get into desperate dependence. And that's when we talked about, that's when you know that time spent with Jesus is no longer discipline. You're not talking to Jesus because you're in trouble. You're not talking to Jesus because you're going to get punished or something. You're talking to Jesus now, and it's just a mere delight. You just, Lord, I love you. I love conversations with you. I don't mind speaking in tongues. I don't mind if people laugh at me about it. I don't mind praying for people that I don't know. And now when you're in desperate dependence, that's when prayer has become for you, that person listening right now, prayer for you has become a matter of sheer survival. You realize, if I don't talk to God, I don't have anyone to talk to, because no one will understand exactly what I'm going through.